Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the Bogey Free podcast for the Valspar Championship. I am your host, Evan Cheney, today joined by Matt and Anthony. How you doing today, guys?
I'm doing great. This is I'm gonna say this for the listeners. This is the best part of my day is getting to do this show with these two goons. So let's get it. Let's get after Valspar. I'm excited. I'm excited for what the takes that we have. Let's get after it.
Oh, there's some scorching ones. I will tell you now. There are
Last week
scorching
sucked, by
takes
the
that we
way. I
have.
hated every moment of
Oh,
it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was I'd say probably my worst week
I
of the
got
season
friggin'
so
mopped.
far.
the tilt was real.
Yeah, it was a lot to deal with. Luckily there was like so much going on the weekend with like St. Patrick's Day and stuff. Like I was at least distracted from just losing all of the money.
Very easy to fade the DK app.
Yeah, it was over early when I went 100% Leishman and he missed the cut, so I didn't really have to check on Saturday or Sunday. But somebody who did need to check their lineups all weekend, HBA 24, our boy Blair from RotoViz, took down the listener league. Him, he had Rory and Furyk in there, so just for all the money, like just every little bit of the money. So yeah, it was a pretty easy win for him. Only two guys over 500 points in the listener league this week, and Blair won by like 15-ish points. So pretty easy stretch for our boy Blair there. How was your week, Evan? Did you do all right, or did you also?
I consider it a victory
like
to only have lost $30.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
Because I was heavily on my man Ches and Chesson, and of course both missed the cut.
Just
so
the
I had
most
a bunch
tilting guys too. Like they're it's just never good.
Yeah,
like
so
when they're bad, it's so frustrating.
Exactly, because they work, like they work statistically, but they're just awful sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, they both missed the cut. That hurt me a ton. And I mean, if both of them, if even one of them made the cut, I probably would have made money.
Yeah, you know what that's so frustrating too. Like I'm so salty. The last minute, not getting the last minute swap from Casey to Chuck murdered me because I would have gotten like 5 or 6 last week was probably good. You know.
Yeah.
It's the shit that happens in golf.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, for sure. And we talked about it a lot last year, but like as far as my week went, like I think Leishman missed by like a stroke or two.
Yeah, a stroke.
Yeah, so like he makes it, and even if he finishes like 50th, like I have a completely different week. But that's how close it is. And when you go 100% on somebody, you got to be willing to gamble with that. So I chose to go 100% on 4 guys and rotate the other 2 spots in all my lineups. And yeah, that's what happens.
That's a high variance strategy for sure.
Right. And all my lineups were real clustered. They were just out of the cash line.
You hate to see it.
Yeah. So whatever. Moving on. This is an interesting week. I think that people probably don't like this week as much as a regular week, just because you're like coming off of just a really strong field at the Players, and now we get like a difficult course. It's the Copperhead course down at Innisbrook, par 71, around 7,200 yards, and it's not I wouldn't say it's necessarily like your prototypical Florida course. Like it's a little bit more tree lined than the water that we saw at Honda. There's still 8 water hazards, but it's definitely a different feel to it.
Sweet.
And this course is really it 4 of the last 5 years, I think it's been inside the top 10 most difficult courses on tour. So winning scores between like 7 under and like maybe 12 under ish seems like the usual lately. So yeah, well, I guess we'll see what the conditions are like as the week progresses, but definitely a difficult course. Amico, what are you targeting stats wise, and how are you narrowing down your guys here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton of the stats this week just because I'm kind of like going through a changeover in my process. But I mean, I just think that like anytime you play on a tough course, you have to value the ability to avoid bogeys. Like that is just something I feel like every time I look at a course that is difficult, like it's the guys who can save, a bad tee shot or, maybe two putt to make a par. Like those are the guys that are going to end up being on top. So I'm always looking at, bogey avoidance, double avoidance at events like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Definitely avoiding a big number is going to be important here. We have, I don't really know. I feel like it's, it's one of those, like, it's less than driver course. So like we kind of have to throw out driving distance in general, even though it may seem like that could be a little bit important based on just like correlations and how guys rank out. But you can definitely get away without like crazy distance here. So that's something to consider.
So you're telling me it's a Sneds week.
Not the longest on tour. So with that, what do you say, Ev? You ready to knock out some of these chalky guys?
Oh yeah. I have a few stats I'll talk about myself throughout the show. So yeah. So let's get to our chalk. And where are we? All right. So we have our 9,500 and up guys. DJ at 11,700 and Patrick Reed at 9,500 make up our highest owned golfers in this price range. I don't know how you guys feeling. DJ obviously going to be high owned, but good reason, of course. Number one golfer in the world. Where you guys stand?
I mean, DJ is going to be wickedly high owned, and I am definitely going to be underweight. This is not the spot for me. I mean, I get it. Like DJ is the best golfer in a field that gets weak pretty quick, but like there's still other dudes in here. Like this is not DJ in Canada. Like there's still like some other really world-class golfers in this field. And I kind of feel like with the ownership he's going to carry and with the lack of quality of like cheaper golfers, like DJ probably has to win for you to like crush. And I mean, I think even if he wins the tournament, he might not be in the winning lineup. So I don't think he's a bad play. Obviously, like he's very safe. He's definitely the safest play you can have. We have him at Data Golf with a 90% chance to make the cut. Like you just can't beat that cut equity. But I just think that people are going to go a little overboard on it, and as a result, I will be underweight.
Yeah. I think I agree for DFS purposes. Like he's minus 400 to top 20 on Bet Online. Like that's a ludicrous line. Like you don't see minus 400 for a top 20 bet. That's like a made cut bet for some people, and maybe even not that low for a lot of people. I fully agree. This isn't like DJ's not going to play well. It's just the ownership is just going to be way too much. And there are a couple of other guys that we'll get to in a little bit that I think have a similar range of outcomes for possibly, 70% of DJ's ownership down to like half of DJ's ownership. So I think exposing yourself to that much DJ, unless you're going to go 100%,
Right.
I don't really see why you would pay for him at that ownership.
He doesn't work with lineup construction this week. I mean, you look at these guys in the way bottom of the pricing range. How do you justify paying 11.5 for someone this week? Like I could see it. I could see it last week, obviously, because last week was a strong field. But here, I mean, no, not really. I mean, I'll be underweight just because he doesn't fit my option this week. Like I made lineups already this week, like kind of a rough go at it. He's only in 13% right now. So
yeah, and I don't really
that's where I
multi-enter that much, so I probably just don't have him. You know, like I would just take that stand. I mean, I like Reed the most out of the guys that you mentioned. He's got excellent course history, but he's also just in really good form.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of making cuts, his short form is pretty good as well. You know, that Reed is, you know, he has the potential to win. He's done it at, you know, big events. He's done it at tough courses. So like, certainly he can do it here. A place where he's finished second twice. So I like Reed the most. I am like stone fading Casey. He is dead to me. Pretty much dead to me until we get to like the next major and he's like 7,600 or something like that. You know.
On what is it? On Patrick Reed, I'm not really that high on him actually. Because there's
all right, Evan. Let's take a Patrick Reed bet. Go ahead.
All right. Well, we gotta do for something more than shekels here.
Well, I mean, what do you want? I feel like that was kind of weird. I don't know.
I don't want money. I'm not a man of money. I'm a man that values a Labatt Blue here. So the kind of guy you're talking to.
Why don't you like him? I'm kind of surprised by that.
All right. I mean, there's some things I was evaluating to look at. You know, top 25 golfers in this field since 2014. And there's two stats that kind of pop up to me that he does really bad in his last 24 rounds. So it's his proximity from 175 to 200 yards out. He's like close to dead last in this field in that statistic in the last 24 rounds, and that makes a good chunk of his calculation for me. And then good drives have been low as well, like I think around 100th or something. Like, so it doesn't seem like he's getting accurate shots off the tee, right? And if I'm going to value accuracy this week, especially because this is a difficult course, I don't want to see my guy in his last 24 rounds be 100th in the field off the tee.
But yeah, I think Matt has said, you want to just hit the greens, right?
Yeah, well, but the problem is you're not going to hit many greens if you're not hitting many fairways here.
No, totally.
As far as like, I don't know, I'm kind of on Evan's side on the Reed thing. Like, obviously, people will gravitate towards him because of the course history. But out of like his last, I don't know, 7 starts, he's been in the top 20, like, I don't know, like 3 times or something. Like, he's only had 5 rounds in the 60s out of his last 12 rounds. Like, he's not really hitting fairways. He's not even really hitting greens that often, to be honest. Like, he's only hit 2/3 of his greens 1 out of the last 3 rounds, 3 events rather. So I don't know. I'm not fully sold on him. He seems like maybe he's gearing up towards Augusta and trying some things out. And as far as just like golf wise, I know he had just changed balls to a Strixon and now he's changing back. So he's kind of all over the place right now. And I don't know if I don't know if I feel like I can trust him at 9,500 if he's going to be, you know, reasonably popular this week. As far as Casey goes, like why? Like,
I'm very pro Casey.
I obviously understand why. Like, I know he missed the cut last week, but he's still going to be a golfer that has a ton of cut equity from week to week. But even so, like, I don't know. He looked really fucking bad. Like, he lost 5 strokes on approach. He lost 5 strokes on the greens, and that was only in 2 days. Like, that's not ideal. He didn't really do well around the greens either. So it's, you know, he gained a little bit off the tee, but other than that, I think it was a pretty ridiculous, like, just worst possible outcome for him.
For sure. But like, the thing is that when you're not playing a lot of golf, like, that kind of stuff happens, right? You know, and Casey hadn't played in like a month, and that's the kind of stuff that can happen.
Yep.
All right. So all right. So we'll move down to our $8K to $9,400 chalk golfers. We have Jim Furyk, who is coming in scorching hot off of last week's second place finish, and Charles Schwartzel at 8,200.
Yeah, I mean, Furyk was doing all the things,
right?
Not to take your line there, Anthony, but
No, that's what I like. You take the lines.
It's insane though. Like he's just I don't understand what's happening. Like I literally am speechless. Like he's just playing great. Like he's keeping everything in play. Like Florida golf is the perfect place for him, just hitting all the fairways. He's hit like what he hit 80% of his fairways almost last week. Like he's just keeping everything in play. He's putting well. He's getting up and down when he misses the greens. Like he's hitting 70% of greens almost. Like it's just completely insane what he's putting together right now at, what is he, 48 or 49, I think, something like that. It's been really really cool to watch just from like a golf perspective and rooting for him in general. I don't think his ownership gets crazy. I just thought that it was important that we at least talked about him. I could see him as of right now sort of falling into that like 15-ish% range based on the first run of projections here.
Second in greens and red gained over the last 36 rounds in the field. I mean, you guys remember when like a year or two ago, like Bitcoin went up like 10x over like Thanksgiving, and then people were buying it, and then like by Christmas it went down again. Like that's literally Jim Furyk, and I'm doing it anyway. Like I'm sure at some point he's gonna turn back to a pumpkin. Like he's just the age, and like he hasn't done this in a while. Like you would think that something's going to turn at some point. I just don't care. He's been too good, and he actually has played pretty well here. So I don't have an issue with him. I think that as long as he's not going to be like mega high owned, which it sounds like he's probably not, like I just trust him more than a lot of the guys in this range. And we've mentioned that it's not a great field. So I mean, that's why Furyk's 92 and maybe not like 86 or something like that. I just trust him. And I want to really be able to lock in cuts with the guys that I'm paying up this week. And I just, like Wednesday night, when I tuck my head on my nice pillow and I try to sleep soundly, like I will sleep better knowing that Jim Furyk is in my lineup.
There you go.
How often can you say that?
Mental equity matters.
Mental equity.
Write that one down, Evan. Mental health equity.
And just like who's around him is gonna, like flatten out the ownership. Like he's only 300 less than Furyk, 200 less than Keegan, 100 more than Stenson, like 200 more than Glover. Like obviously he's much better than Glover, but like what I mean.
No. You can't make that take.
But in general, I'm just saying there's enough popular options around him where he's not like on an island. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to hit 25% or something ridiculous. We could skip the other guy in this range. That was an oversight.
Josh Orthel, the Woat.
Yeah. He had course history, and Fanshare had him kind of popular when I first looked, and now it's gone down dramatically. So we can skip him.
Okay.
All right. So that'll bring us to a $7,900 golfer in JT Poston.
My Postman. Son. The Postman. This is my dude. I'm going to be balls deep into JT Poston this week.
Wow.
Can I say that on this show? Is that okay?
Heard it here first, folks.
He's really good. The form that he's in.
All right, let's not go crazy.
No, he's a good play. The form that he's in right now is excellent for a guy that's 7,900 in this field.
I like all the qualifiers that you put on after he's really good.
Listen, Matt, sometimes I get excited and I say things I don't mean. Okay, I'm trying to backtrack respectively. But I mean, he has what 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 5 top 30s in his last 8 events. Like that's good for a guy at that price. He's going to get you the finish bonus. He's going to get you obviously all the points he gets you. Like I just feel like again, he is like the safest guy under 8K for me. And I'm not going to be able to get away from him. I like him a lot. I mean, he's only played here once. He finished top 20. So
he has to be good. That's perfect.
Right, so, I mean, he has to be great. The course history tells all. I I like him. I mean, I think that there's some other guys in here that have better cut equity, like maybe Hatton or someone probably has like a better chance of making the cut.
I don't think so.
I think if you're just like running the numbers, like
Hatton sucks.
The analytics, the hashtag analytics. But the postman is my boy. I will probably have 100%.
Well, there you go. Way to not leave anything for the end of the show.
No, Matt, I'm going to give you 2 other plays at the end of the show. That's how pumped I am. Valspar.
Valspar.
I like how you had the
parkour.
Yeah, I mean he's been like consistently, around like the 70 DraftKings point mark. Like that's pretty solid. Hit a lot of greens last week. Been putting pretty well. So if that comes back down to earth, that could be a little bit of a problem. But overall, I mean he's been scoring well. So it makes sense. I guess we'll see. What happens. I don't know. I'm not completely sold on him. We've seen little 2-3 start stretches from him where he sort of like pops and then disappears for 3 months. So
don't put that evil on him.
He's an easy, it's a easy guy to root for. I like him. He's a pretty interesting guy as far as like a Twitter following. He's supposed to be supposedly pretty funny, but I don't know if that means it's gonna be any good this week. So we'll see.
All right. Well, let's talk about some.
Thanks, Ev.
I really just
you're doing a great job.
There's only so much JT post, man. I can truly comprehend in one night.
All right. Well,
attack.
Let's make sure we fill up the listener league again. It keeps like 49 people. Like when I go to bed on Wednesday night. Let's just fill it up. Like, let's just not have to worry about it. And let's get some more 6 of 6s this week because we were dead last.
I love it. I love your listener league sweat.
Leagues. It's
I love that you sweat it like 8 hours before lock too.
Oh yeah, no, it's like the listener league thing. Although Nelson hasn't been tweeting it out, so it doesn't really like even exist anymore. That was fun for like the 2 weeks that he did it. But it's like my plays, then the listener league, then my actual lineups. Like that, that's the order of things that I care about during the week. Like even if I don't make any money, if the guys who I said are going to do good, then I'm fine.
Yeah, guys, I'm going to be honest. I 100% care more about me than I do about you. I'm going to be honest. If I win all the money and all the advice I give sucks, I don't care. I mean, it's unlikely because I play the guys I talk about, but I'm a transparent guy. I want to win.
All right. At least you're honest, and that's what we appreciate on the show. All right, so let's talk about some 9,500 and higher GPP pivots. I know we already talked about DJ. We talked about Casey Reed. What other guys here in this range are we looking at? We looking at some Rahm, some Day, Webb Simpson, Webb Daddy?
As Matt would say, there is one play in this range. There's one correct answer.
I was trying to, yeah. I know exactly.
Gary Woodland is the stone cold nuts. I think he's an excellent play. I think the fact that he's like this much cheaper than the top of the board is disrespectful. Excellent cut equity. He's still in good form. I know that we had the slight hiccup, but he's still in excellent form, especially of late. Course history is decent. It's good enough for me. I missed a cut here last year, but again, like Woodland was kind of doing a lot of stuff weird last year. Still has all
that was the win hangover.
Stuff. Yeah, the win hangover. But when you just look at the combination of cut equity and performance this year at sub 10K, I'm in.
Yeah, full agree. If he would have like only hit 55% of his fairways again last week after he did that at the Honda, I would be a little concerned. But he was great off the tee again last week at Sawgrass, so just load him up everywhere. I can't like call him my cash lock again because I think he's already been my cash lock like 3 times. But it's gonna be real close to 100% for for good old Gary this week. And if you do like somebody cheap, I think there's a really, really strong case to be made for Rahm this week. I would not be shocked if he won this week.
Why do we keep dancing around the nuts in this range?
Is it Webb Simpson? I like him too.
Not Webb Simpson.
Is it Sergio?
It is Sergio. Sexy Sergio he is this week. My man.
Just all of the course history. Just all of the course history ownership bump. Just eat it. Eat all of that.
Well, he has. Okay. All right. His approach game lately has been amazing.
He has been a top 10
what the
machine.
fuck?
I will admit that.
When has his approach game not been amazing?
But I'm just saying, his approach game is amazing.
Dude's been a bomber the last 10 years. What do you mean?
Exactly. His I don't know. His proximity
Breaking
is good.
news. You heard it here first, guys. Sergio is a good ball striker. In case you had no idea.
You know, for someone of my age, I do know a lot about golf, so that's the only thing I have going for me at this point. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously doing that, and then he's avoiding bogeys pretty well.
He's obviously doing that.
What would you people do without
replace Jason Witten on Monday Night Football?
I mean, I should, because I'm not a former Cowboy, so I can't be, I can't be a perfect replacement. But, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, he's doing well avoiding bogeys, so that's really my main thing here.
But
that's a good thing.
Yes,
I like that. I like when my golfers have par better.
Why do you do this?
Poor Evan. He just can't get a single take in.
I have some ideas for memes here. Pictures for our group chat. There's just so many ideas right now, and it's just getting worse and worse with all these shots.
Well, I would take Gary over Sergio every day of the week. And honestly, I don't know. I mean, I think you could probably make a case for Day. He's still like a guy who just freaking just doesn't hit greens and scores. Like, it's so annoying. Like, because it just doesn't make any sense. Like, he just putts so well every single week. He's one of the few guys where it almost doesn't matter sometimes. Like, he can finish. He finished 11th at the HSBC and hit 60% of greens. Like, it's just insane. But yeah, I think you could go a bunch of different ways in this range. I don't think anybody above anybody from Reed up would be like, I don't really think you can make a strong case against any of those guys.
Just Paul Casey,
right? Because he's just awful. But yeah, so let's get into some of these cheap guys, because I think there's some money to be made in the low 8,000 to high 7,000 range.
Well, I mean, yeah. Are people just still not playing Jason Kokrak every week? 8,600 is a good price.
Yeah. He's my number one golfer this week.
I mean, I've been saying it for months, so I'm glad you guys finally caught up.
Yes, no, Kokrak really is elite in this field, especially because putting, it's obviously it's weighted, but it's not huge.
Wait,
so because
what are you saying?
You mean in your model?
Yeah, like I'm 5.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah. I should have said that, but yeah.
So if your mom gives you money for a lemonade stand and she says go buy Jason Kokrak,
that's true. What do you?
She's giving you a 10 and she's saying you won't get any change back, but you are getting change back this week. What up, DraftKings?
Oh no, you're getting your Kokrak.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, this has been Bogey.
Yeah. I really like Russell Knox this week. 8,100. Again, I mean, maybe he's just due to miss some cuts, but he hasn't done it. He's been really consistent at making cuts. Obviously has the top 20 last year here, but has a couple of top 20s this year in his last couple of months of starts. So I'm hoping that he can still maintain that upside. I think 8,100 is a good price. Like there's DraftKings this week, like really aggressively priced up like anyone with a pulse. I felt like because of the field. So to get Knox at 8,100, like it sucks to have to pay 8,100 for him because I think we're used to getting him closer to like 75. But I just feel like the price hike that we got on him was less than a lot of the other guys.
Yeah, Knox is 5th in my course fit model. And he's the biggest value as far as like top 20 bets go in my whole model. So I'll have, not that we do a whole lot of betting content here, but that will be a pretty big bet for me this week is Knox for a top 20. I have him at a 37% chance to finish in the top 20. So that's pretty solid for this week. So I definitely agree with you on Knox. I'm definitely in on Kokrak. I don't know. I'm kind of struggling this week to decide if I want to just sort of like narrow down my exposure to like those two guys in this range and differentiate elsewhere, or if I want to take some stabs here. Is there anybody else that's jumping out to you guys in this range that you think I should be considering?
I wouldn't
Evan's
say
going to tell us Glover, obviously.
Yeah, I know. I just put it right on a fucking tee for you. Just had to get Evan back involved in the show.
That's true. I mean, after my severe roasting a few minutes ago, Lucas Glove Daddy Glover. My voice just cracked. Puberty sucks. I'm 22. I didn't think I still went through puberty at this point, but I guess I do. I mean, he does everything solidly here, like except for I think 2 stats. He's gained strokes in every single statistic I'm looking at. So why not?
No, he's been good. He's been good.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we give you crap for the Glover thing, but he has been good. I cannot deny that. I think that he is a decent play. I mean, Glover kind of fits into a tier of guys for me in this price range where it's like him, Sneds, Kisner, RCB, Moore, like all those guys I think are like very playable. I'm not sure like if I'm going out of my way for them, but they're very playable. So like, Matt, you mentioned like maybe just playing Kokrak and Knox in this range. Like it's pretty likely that if you did that, you'd actually differentiate yourself a good bit because I do think that there's a lot of guys that people are going to look at in this tier. So I don't know if I really want to fade all these guys like necessarily.
Yeah, I think Snedeker would be my next favorite in this range. He hit 80, a little bit over 80% of his greens last week after a pretty bad showing at Bay Hill. And had 3 rounds in the 60s without really putting that well. So if he can put together, he obviously had to save quite a bit at the Arnold Palmer because of his ball striking, but he was averaging 26 putts per round at the Arnold Palmer and 30 this past week. So if he could put his ball striking together with a good putting week, like he's right in the thick of things. So I think those will probably be my 3 guys: Kokrak, Snedeker, and Knox, and just go like super overweight on them and hope for the best.
What about Henrik Stenson?
No.
Up in this range. I have him like 96th percentile.
Out of 1,000 or out of 100?
Yeah, I'm not doing the Stenson thing. Stenson still is making up. Stenson still has some making up to do with me. I'm not into him.
What do you do? Yeah. How do you break your heart?
Stenson's way down the list for me right now. He's
$100 cheaper than Jim the Goat Furyk.
Right.
Just pay the hundy.
Yeah.
I say save the hundy.
Open up that purse, Evan.
Yeah. You don't get to take the money with you.
If you say so.
Yeah, he is. Right. The course fit model has him at a 12% chance of making a top 20. No thanks. Wow. Furyk has a 39% chance.
39. Well, that's okay. We expect that.
So, I accept your apology. Let's keep
whatever
going.
You say. All right. Well, any other guys here in this
No.
This range?
No. Next range. Next range.
Let's dumpster dive. Let's do it.
Well, I do have one. I have 4 words actually this week. No Ches, no cheddar. These are my 4 words to live by this week.
Can we go back a little bit? Did you say that last week?
I did. I did.
Okay. And what happened last week?
Well, that was last week. This is
but did he make the cut last week?
It's a forward-thinking show.
This is. I put in the group chat for this week. Like that was when I said that. That was for this week.
I don't think that's how that works.
All right. Well, I'm gonna just talk about my guy then. If we're going like 7K range, Soon Kang, 7,200. Really excellent form in terms of his recent play. Has the 6th place finish 2 weeks ago, but has also put up a couple other top 20s. I think he's got like 4 or 5 of them. Has only missed the 1 cut over the past 3 months. So just in very, very good form for a 7,200 price golfer. Obviously hasn't played like the best here. 73rd last year. Missed the cut the year before that. So it hasn't been good here recently. But again, I am trying to fade the course history a little bit more in my process. I'm going to favor the golfer that is in excellent form. And I believe that Kang fits that profile.
Yeah, I could get on board. He's real. That could be pretty solid.
You can tell me my play
like this is where I want to.
You can just tell me my play suck. You don't have to try that.
No, it definitely doesn't suck. I don't feel as confident. I'll say that. Bud Cauley kind of popped in the model in this range, which I thought was kind of interesting. Just for the fact that, like, I don't know, he hasn't been lighting the world on fire recently. I think he was like 40, like high 40s last week, maybe like just inside the top 50. But yeah, I'm having a really difficult time. Like Sink popped in the model at 7,000, which is not surprising. Like just keep it in front of you and just try to hit some greens. I think Neiman could be interesting if he can put some things together, but I know everybody rolls their eyes when I say that. So I might as well just say Sung Jae also at that rate. But yeah, I don't feel particularly strong in this range. So I am probably, this is like where I'm going to kind of go all over the place. Like maybe take a couple of stabs at like a Streelman or a Dahmen or like maybe Taylor. A Kirk.
Duff Daddy.
Yeah. I like Nick Taylor. I could get on board with Nick Taylor. He's he hit it really well last week. He just couldn't putt, and that's kind of a problem. But you never know. What did you say, Ev? Who are you talking about?
You just said yuck.
What nonsense.
I said yuck to Nick Taylor, and I said Duff Daddy. Quick story about him?
Yeah. I mean, if we're gonna go past the range that we're talking about right now, then that's fine. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I saw his name.
Go ahead with he's had 6 missed cuts in a row, but go ahead. Yeah.
No, a good story about him. When I was at the Pro-Am, he almost hit me with a golf ball.
I thought you were gonna say he fist bumped you.
Because I was sitting in the stands of 18, and he hit a shot, and it ricocheted off of the bleachers, and it was like it was close. The ball was close to my body.
What day did you go again?
Wednesday, right?
Yeah. I knew it couldn't have been Saturday or Sunday because he didn't make the cut, but I wasn't sure if it was another day.
Yeah, no, it was an experience though to almost get hit by like a professional golfer's shot.
Yeah, that's you really got to keep your head on a swivel when you go to a PGA event. It's pretty important. Yeah, I'm sure you were looking at your phone and just like heard the ball go by you.
Oh God, no. It's
kind of millennial slander. What is this?
No, actually, you know who was on his phone? My dad. My dad was the one on his phone.
There you go.
He was playing a game during that shot. And I was like,
yeah. Big Fruit Ninja guy, your dad?
Nah, he plays this game called 10-10, actually. It's like Tetris, but it's like weirder. And I call him a millennial for it.
Nice.
I see these damn millennials can't get off their phones, and I looked right at them.
Yeah. Now you got to play balls with a Z. That's the best.
Oh, same, yeah.
Yeah. Solid.
Mindless.
Oh man, we're speaking of mindless, we're really going off the rails.
I'm sorry. It's my
fault. It's not your fault.
It really is telling though for Valspar.
Yeah. Are we going sub 7K now?
Yeah, hit me with all your dart throws.
Okay, so I have never even heard of this guy because I'm not a big golf guy. So maybe Matt, you can tell me something about him. But Adam Schenk,
yeah,
terrible golf name, but
and not ideal.
Yeah, 3 straight top 30s. So his recent form, like his short form, is very good. His overall recent form, honestly, is pretty decent. He's only missed 2 cuts, dating back over his last 9 events. So that's pretty good. And again, like the sub 7K, like you're just not going to find a lot of guys down here that do anything. So I was kind of surprised to see that Schenk actually popped pretty high for me, rated out as like a top 20 golfer, and is priced under 7K. So I don't know like if he has like a thing that I need to know about, but that's what the numbers say.
No, he's a Purdue guy. A little bit older, hasn't really caught on 6,900 for how he's been making cuts over the last, I don't know what, month maybe. Seems like a pretty fair price. Let's see. Yeah. 7 out of the last 8 cuts. I think that's pretty reasonable in this field for 6,900. I miss those days. It was fun. Yeah, I could see that. Like, it's kind of a wasteland down here. Like, just from like a class perspective, I could see getting on like a Bill Haas or a HV3 or somebody, because like at 6,700, I just don't think they should be down that low, regardless of their form. Like under, like the Hudson Swaffords and Carlos Ortiz's of the world, like there's no reason they're more expensive. Yeah, maybe some hoagie, but other than that, like this is all pretty gross. Maybe Max Homa, but that's probably it down here. I can't really see myself getting too heavily invested down here. I think balanced is the way to go.
What about the only other guy you said HV3? What about your boy Kevin Tway? 6,500.
Not really his place here.
No.
It's not. This isn't really a course that you can like overpower. And I'd rather take him on more of like a course that definitely favors driving distance. This week, I think if he goes a little sideways off the tee, it could get like real ugly real quick.
Okay. No, I only brought him up because like his odds to make the cut are actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Like versus the range from Data Golf, he's basically 60%, which is pretty hard to find.
Yeah,
that's in that range. All these other guys are like 40 and 50.
Yeah, I'd rather wait for like some of the Texas events where distance is a little bit more important.
Okay. As always, I respect your opinion.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right. I'm assuming no one else to really discuss here.
No, we are quite good.
Okay. So let's talk about our cash game locks. Anthony, I'll talk to you first. 2 guys.
Streak ends. I'm going to lock in Kokrak. And since I gave you, who did I say before that I said I wouldn't say again later? Oh, Poston. So I won't say Poston then. I will say Russell Knox.
All right. Well, just take all my guys.
Sorry, he threw to me first.
Yeah, I'm going to double up or double down on Knox, because I really think that just the fact that he popped so highly in the model at 8,100 is pretty insane. And I'll go. I know it's kind of a cop out, but I'll go Rahm, because I really think that he could win this week. So
I like that, Matt. We don't take the high end guys too often.
Doing it.
All right. Drum roll, please. I will take Sergio, who I think can actually win this tournament. And I will take Ches.
Awful.
Ches as the
classic Evan all in.
No Ches, no cheddar. You heard it here first.
Matt, I know that you keep track of like your cash locks on your article, but I would love if you could keep track of all of the cash locks, just so that we could, like, later we can just point the stats to Evan and be like, listen, man, you're 2 for 12 right now. Like, you gotta stop shooting. Like,
that's fine. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
It's not true, actually. Great. It's mathematically false. That's
Michael Scott's words.
Yeah, that's I'm over 90% on cuts made this year and 60% on top 20s. So
flex on them.
Let's keep it rolling there, Rami and Noxie.
All right. Well, on that note, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Matt is at Matt Jones TFR. Anthony is at Amixta. I am at eChaney17. And of course, you can always subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and YouTube, both under Bogey Free DFS. And if we're not winning all the money this week, we hope you guys do. So good luck in your contest this week.
Yeah.